Allow me to first just welcome and thank everyone on behalf of President Quentin Bullock and the rest of the CCAC community. We thank you for participating in this very, very important endeavor. The title, My Brother's Keeper, those three words initially, when you hear them, they connotate three things. The first one is that it connotates ownership. The second one, relationship. And the third, being commitment. None of which can be negated if you say, I am my brother's keeper. The Community College of Allegheny County has, for a number of years, continued to be the highest concentration of African American males of any institution in Western Pennsylvania. With that being said, we have a responsibility here that we have taken very seriously in educating students of color through degrees, through certifications, through workforce development, and through trade certifications. Our mission is to make sure that the students who come through those doors, that they successfully navigate and they overcome the hurdles that they're going to face while they're students here at our school. We have an initiative called the Men of Merit Initiative. And that initiative is designed to keep track of, to support, to mentor, and when necessary, to be engaging and to care for those students who a lot of times end up being statistics. So again, the community of CCAC applauds everyone that sits on this committee. And very briefly, we're going to have everyone come up and they're going to speak about what their individual groups do and how they plan on being helpers in My Brother's Keeper. The first person I'm going to introduce, and I'm going to also give some instructions. I'm going to introduce one person, and then after that, he or she will have the responsibility of introducing the person that precedes them. That's mainly for the panel here that we understand that. Okay, so the first person I'm going to introduce is Chief County Executive, Mr. Fitzgerald.
Thanks, Devin. And I know my job is to introduce the mayor, so I did get the instructions, and then I gave the mayor his instructions, and we'll figure it out. But first of all, you know, when the mayor and I took up the President's Challenge a year ago, you know, President Obama laid out a very ambitious but an extremely worthy challenge of My Brother's Keeper. And the 6 goals that are laid out about starting school, being ready physically, emotionally, being able to read a proficiency at 3rd grade level, graduating from high school, all the goals that are laid out are certainly worthy achievements. And we brought together a terrific committee of folks who work in various levels in this, you know, in different realms. Some working with childhood education, some working with workforce development, some working in you know, in the faith-based communities, et cetera. And we're so blessed in this region to have such talent and to have such caring people and folks who really throw their efforts and throw their heart and soul into this type of work. And the report that they just presented to the mayor and myself is tremendous. I would stack it up against any city, any county, any region in the country. Over 90 pages of very detailed, doable, and achievable results. And I think it's incumbent upon all of us to make sure we work together and do it in a smart and efficient, collaborative way, which is how we solve a lot of problems and how we have solved many problems in this region. You know, we know a lot of things in this region are going very well. There's a lot of good economic opportunities that are happening. Property values are going up. People are moving in. Neighborhoods that had been left behind are coming back in big ways. but not everybody is sharing and not everybody's participating in that revitalization. And that's our challenge, is to make sure when we develop some of these neighborhoods, whether they be in the city or whether they be in the Mon Valley or in the North Hills or wherever they may be, that they're all sharing in this. So I'm very excited, and I want to thank the board members, the commission members who put this together. They have a lot to be proud of. We still have a lot of work to do, and I can tell you from the county standpoint, I know I can speak for my partner in the city too. We're going to work together and make sure that this happens. So I want to thank everybody. I want to thank Community College. Madam President, thank you for allowing us to be here on your great campus. And now it's my pleasure to introduce the other half of the folks that took the challenge and was full force behind what President Obama did, and that's our great mayor, Mayor Bill Peduto.
Thanks, Rich. And I want to start by sharing something that I shared with the board members as we were getting background on what the focus needs to be. On two separate occasions in this past year, on two separate discussions that were going on with the White House, unsolicited, the White House brought up the work that Pittsburgh was doing with My Brother's Keeper. And at the first, during a phone call conversation, just throwing it in there about how the work that this board and the members of these different organizations, the information that Trenda and others were sending back, was exceeding what other cities were providing. There's a real sense of collaboration. There's a real need, not just in Pittsburgh, but every city around the country right now. Disparity is growing. It's not getting better. It's getting worse. But there's also a real sense of collaboration in Pittsburgh, and that's why we have such a great report at the end. The second time was the last time I was down there when the Pope visited, and the night before, 13 mayors were gathered in to have a roundtable about urban issues. And they brought up again My Brother's Keeper. And what they said was kind of interesting. They said that there's very few times when an email will be sent out to the entire White House. And whenever it's a My Brother's Keeper success story, they send it out. And it's one of the few times that the president will reply to all. They're going to have an email going out tomorrow, and I'm betting the president's going to reply to all. I want to thank the people who put this together. When we first met, and we were first putting together the concerns of the community, and what better way to find out what the concerns of a community are than by going into the community and asking them, what are the concerns? It was broad. There were a lot of issues. It was at the very beginning of Chief McClay and the new administration of the Police Bureau, and police community relations were at the top. It was on workforce development and the pipeline that didn't exist between the jobs that are being created now and young men of color who had no access to them. It was about crime and the crime in the neighborhoods that were being driven by drug trade, which was the best job you can get. And there was another whole level. And over the course of a year, this board and the people involved in it took it into an understanding that it starts at a very young age, and it's a pipeline that then allows somebody to have an opportunity for success. And opportunity is the key word. So when I look at this, I see a couple of things. One, the recommendation that came just moments ago that it has to continue. It can't end with a report, that there has to be a commission that is a commission between the city and the county. Would this be our first? Well, I guess we have authorities, but we don't have, I think, a city-county commission. The first city-county commission, and an issue important enough to create it. And I commit to that. And then second, as we look at all of the organizations that are out there, it's not about government trying to take over that work. It's how do you empower those organizations so that the ones that are doing duplicative work can help to fill in the holes that are going to happen when we take on this lofty agenda. And when I say lofty, I mean in the sense that we are going to be working individually with people in order to help them to be ready to get into school, to be able to get to a certain level in school, to be able to have an opportunity to graduate from school, and then after they get out, we're not done with them. So we refer to this in my office as P14. I've heard it's also called P20, but I consider it 14th grade. The era of my grandfather, education wasn't really a priority. It was getting in the mill as early as you could, work as hard as you could, and then be able to have your child follow you into that mill and have that job too. And it wasn't even a middle-class job. The idea was then, the reformers said, if we're going to break that cycle and give those kids a different opportunity than working in that mill or in that mine, then we got to get them into an education system. And they created, in that industrial age, K through 12. And K through 12 is what broke that cycle. It's what let the children of the mill workers and the mine workers have an opportunity to go to college and start on a whole new path to success. It's what allowed mobility to happen. We're in a whole different economy now, and K through 12 isn't the model to be able to be a part of that. It starts before K, and it goes after 12. And if we can provide kids before K to have a chance to be at an equal opportunity by the time they start K, then they're going to have a chance to succeed. And if we can guarantee that every kid that graduates high school is either going to go to a vocational school, is going to go to work, is going to go to college, is going to go into the military, or is going to go into AmeriCorps and have that opportunity for the next 2 years, we will change lives. That's what this report's about. And it says, here's where you commit at 6 different levels in order to make it happen. So I'm on board. It's going to mean that we're going to have to reprioritize how we spend some city money. It's going to mean that we're going to have even stronger partnerships with Pittsburgh Public Schools and the county. It's going to mean that everyone in this room has to commit too, because it only happens if everyone else is on board. And like I said, this won't be a government program. This will be the empowering of the people who are going to be working individually with individuals to get people's lives in a better place so that they can take advantage of opportunity that will be there and they'll be able to succeed themselves. And my partner of that for the next year, and then when she becomes a consultant and helps us with these programs and we don't let her leave Pittsburgh, is Dr. Linda Lane.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Well, thank you all so much for coming. I know I'm glad to be here this afternoon, and I know that I speak for all the superintendents in the county because we always thank community and governments to join us in the work of making lives the way we want them to be for our young people. And we know it takes all of us to do that. You heard already about the 6 goals of our Brother's Keeper. And one of the reasons I was so supportive when I first read it, when the president first announced it, was because as those goals were developed, they were so in sync for our goals of the school district. And I thought, well, this is just perfect. For example, first goal, ensuring all children enter school cognitively, physically, emotionally ready to enter kindergarten successfully. And our first milestone for our children is ready for K. And I know there's a huge commitment to early childhood in this community, so that is perfect for us because we too are highly committed to not only having children in early childhood, but having them in a quality program. Second goal, ensuring all children read at grade level by 3rd grade. Our goal is the exact same goal. 3rd grade is the make or break. If we can't get them there by 3rd grade, I tell our staff, it gets way harder after that. It gets way harder after that. And so I'm spending even more time now when I visit schools in K, 1, and 2 classrooms, because what happens there is the linchpin for everything else that's going to happen after that. Then, next goal, graduating from high school, which of course the mayor just spoke about how important it is to go beyond high school, but first you've got to get through high school. And we still aren't the place where all of our children are doing that successfully. So addressing that is incredibly important. And of course, here in Pittsburgh, we have the advantage of eligibility, potential eligibility for the Pittsburgh Promise. So we want our children to graduate not only ready to finish high school, but also prepared to have enough of a GPA and attendance, be there at school every day, so that they can qualify for that Pittsburgh Promise, because we know many of our children are going to need financial assistance to go to school. To talk about going to college is one thing. To going there requires, I saw you right out here, cashier's office, right? And even at CCAC, where the prices are quite reasonable for credit hours, you're still going to be at the cashier's office. And not all of our kids are prepared to do that. And so we want to make sure we give them that boost and whatever other boost we can give in that space. And then one of the things I appreciated so much this summer was having employment, Mr. Mayor, for children, our young people, who in the summer, my belief around young people, especially teenagers, is if you don't give them something to do, they create their own curriculum. And sometimes we like that, and sometimes we don't. And so it's always good to keep them as busy as possible, engaged in something they enjoy, that they find meaningful, because busy work won't do it for them. They won't do that. They'll just bug out on you. But if they have something meaningful to do, they can feel a part of that adult world. Oh, absolutely. They love that. They love that, because they like to serve just like everybody else. So that's been a wonderful thing. And then, of course, the other thing I have to mention is this whole goal around safety and the efforts recently of the Bureau of Police and Black Women for Positive Change as we address how do we keep kids safe in their neighborhoods, how do we make sure to and from school is going to be an okay experience, no problems, and that we have after-school opportunities for them, someplace to go where they can be safe and have some adult supervision. So, all those things mean we're going to have to work together, and I appreciate hearing that already. And I love music, so I think about working in concert. And in a concert, it doesn't mean that everybody plays the melody. It doesn't mean that everybody's playing a drum. It doesn't mean that everyone is playing the harmony. All those things have to come together by that concertmaster that helps everybody play together successfully, and that's why I'm hearing us talk about with this commission. So thank you all so much for being willing to work together and supporting these young men who are so richly deserving. And just to close, I was with them yesterday. Our We Promise young men, and for those that you don't know, because in the Pittsburgh Promise, African American young men have the lowest eligibility rate of any demographic group. We put together a program to mitigate that. It's a mentoring program. 100 Black Men in Pennsylvania has been instrumental in helping us as mentors. And I was with our young men yesterday, and I invite any of you sometime, if you've never been to a We Promise Summit, these were juniors and seniors yesterday, please come. You'll be so impressed with them. You'll be so impressed with it. And for the young men that were there yesterday, we've been with them a couple years now. And seeing the growth was amazing. It was amazing. Their leadership skills are coming out, communication, they are very thoughtful about their futures. And so our mentors, are any of our mentors in this audience? I see a few of you here. Yes, thank those mentors, please. So, that is all I have to do except introduce the next person, and that's Mr. DeWitt Walton with the United Steelworkers.
Thank you, Dr. Lane, and to this distinguished group here. I'm really fortunate. I'm both humbled and privileged to be here with you today because the United Steelworkers Union, my employer, clearly understands the need for programs and commitment to My Brother's Keeper, to the initiative, the 6 points that are outlined. And I'm also tasked as program director of the Pittsburgh A. Philip Randolph Institute to operate a workforce development program that creates opportunity for young men and women from underrepresented, underserved, and previously incarcerated communities to have an opportunity to have family-sustaining careers. The one theme that we've heard all during these conversations is that there is a constant need for education. The mayor, the county executive, Dr. Lane, and every speaker you will hear will talk about the need for education. Learning is a lifelong obligation from womb to tomb. Your ability to feed, house, clothe, and educate your family and yourself is clearly predicated on your ability to meet employer specs, to meet their needs, to have family-sustaining employment. It's not rocket science, it's hard work. And we're really fortunate to be here. We really think that the 6 points of My Brother's Keeper are absolutely critical, because the outcomes of that will be increased per capita income, increased home ownership, and an improvement of public safety in underserved, underrepresented communities. Folks that look like us, struggle like us, and want to do better every day. So we're on board. We're going to be supportive. We're going to make this work. We're going to make Allegheny County a better place for all of us to live, and we all need to be on board. Thank you. I forgot my task to introduce the next speaker, Harry Johnson, Program Manager of BME.
Good morning. First, I want to just thank the mayor and the county executive for their leadership on this MBK initiative. This is a great initiative that we need in our city, and we're going to move it forward. My piece to speak about is the Pittsburgh Keepers of the Community Collaborative. This came together through the leadership of LaTrinda and the mentoring partnership through Colleen Fedor and Be Me. We set out to with the goal of finding more male mentors, more black men mentors in this city. But at Be Me, we believe that we don't need to find any more mentors. The mentors are already here. Black men are already leading, they're already serving, our communities are already building businesses. So we've just brought together men that care about serving our kids and making a better place here in Pittsburgh. So brothers like Dr. Quigley, Ryan Scott, Tom Baker, Brother Tali, we've all come together, Jason Rivers, who's not here. All these men care about our kids, and they've been caring before MBK was even here. So our goal is really to collaborate and to really have a network of men that serve our kids within schools. Just last week we were in UPrep, where we did a full day at UPrep, spoke to the whole high school and brought together service providers within the schools to reach kids there. We hope to do the same thing at Westinghouse, to Brashear, at Obama, and really bring these services to kids that are so important and so vital. So I want to thank you all for being a part of this, because you all are keepers, and please join the PKCC network as we're growing it out. Brother Gene from the Pittsburgh Promise is here. Thank you for your support. So Brother Ron, so we all care, and we're all here because we care. And I think our piece is really to show that and to bring more collaboration through the work that we all do. And so thank you so much. And I also want to bring up Carmen Anderson. The reason why I'm here, I'm with Be Me Community. The reason Be Me is here is because of Carmen Anderson, her leadership at the Heinz Endowment. So please welcome her, and thank you so much.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Harry. I must clarify, that is a bit of an exaggeration, but we're happy to partner with Harry and several others of you in the room. Thank you on behalf of the Heinz Endowments for this opportunity to be here with you. I'm happy to represent the endowments and the work that we do, but I want to also point out that my colleague, Dr. Stan Thompson, is in the audience. He is an important leader at the endowments and in the work related to this agenda, and so please note that he is here as well. The Heinz Endowment's vision for southwestern Pennsylvania is that this would be a region where it's a premier place to both live and work. It's a center for learning and educational excellence, and as a home to diversity and inclusion. We recognize and have recognized for some time that this vision will not be attained as long as a significant part of our community is left behind. The My Brother's Keeper initiatives is important to the work of the endowments because it raises the visibility of opportunities, it leverages important resources, sets key benchmarks, and outlines a strategic approach to the healthy development and trajectory for success for boys and young men. Our African American Men and Boys Initiative, the work that Stan and I are a part of, was created actually in 2007 to identify and increase educational, economic, social, and leadership opportunities for African American men and boys in the Pittsburgh region. We use, and this is important to us, an asset-based approach in working with the African American community to create improved life outcomes for this population. And from the beginning, we have been guided by a community-based advisory board. This work started actually with a series of community conversations and input from our advisory board. And based on those conversations, the priority areas of educational opportunity, access to economic opportunity, identity, gender, and character development, communications, and evaluation were identified as most important. To date, the endowments has made grants of more than $19 million to support this work. Over the years, institutions of all types, private, philanthropy, government, nonprofits, have joined what is now a national movement intended to right the historical and current injustices and embrace African American men as assets in their communities. We are pleased to be a part of My Brother's Keeper's launch in Pittsburgh and applaud both Mayor Peduto and County Executive Fitzgerald for their leadership and commitment to ensuring that our most livable city includes everyone. Together, we can change the negative perception, build on the many strengths that African American men bring to the table so that our communities prosper and all of our children have opportunity to thrive. Thank you.
Just wanted to thank the panel, the committee, and I'll say this portion only because I'm close to the exit sign in the door. So we almost made it through with the introductions except for Brother DeWitt. He was the only one that actually almost missed his introduction, but other than that, we did relatively well, but thank you all. I'm only saying that because he's down there and it's a little bit safe. He's a big guy. Only reason. But again, I just want to thank everyone for coming out. The CCAC community is glad to host this, and I do want to close out with these final words. If you notice, the curriculum and everything in My Brother's Keeper is saying that we need to make sure that we're grasping the African American males from a very young age. One of the things that Frederick Douglass said is that he said that it is easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. Remember that. It is easier to build strong children than to prepare broken men. So we want to start from out of the womb, as Brother said, out of the womb to the tomb. And so again, we thank you for coming out, and that concludes our program. And we would ask the committee to remain seated so that we can do some pictures and photo ops and things like that. Thank you guys for coming out.